This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I'm your host, and I am honored once again by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Here at the Brilliance Plus Passion Project, we highlight folks who make the world a better place by being part of it and by their contributions to it. And in this conversation, we're going to be getting to know somebody I just connected with the other day. This is a perfect example of why podcasting works. It enables you to make connections otherwise you may have never made, and it also allows you to facilitate the conversation in a way that includes reciprocity and mutual celebration. That's what we're going to do here today with J.H. Tepley, who is an author, entrepreneur, international speaker, and spiritual mentor. As a lifelong geek and research aficionado, she offers world-class spiritual training for male entrepreneurs to help them create their dream meaningful reality, turbocharge your success, and leave an epic legacy in alignment with their soul's path. Her New Era Superhero program showed many men the road to personal power, fulfillment, and increased revenue. And she spent the last 20 years teaching and coaching students around the globe. So she's also involved with charity work supporting mental health through lightsaber training, which has been featured in The Guardian, The Jeremy Vine Show, and BBC One. And when she's not teaching or writing, she enjoys reading about Japan, where she studied and lived for a time. She also speaks fluent Japanese, and her unique novel, The Lightwatch Chronicles, begins in Tokyo. She has a Telegram channel. You'll see it when you look at the notes on this show. And we're about to discover more. J.H. Tepley, welcome aboard. It's great to have you here today.
Hello there, and thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, absolutely. So in our format, we go through 10 questions that are designed to give us an opportunity to discover more about your work and more about you as a contributor to society. So let's start with question number 1, which is, how does the work you do, and I may have touched on this a bit in the bio, but let's hear it in your own words. How does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and the world at large?
I help male entrepreneurs discover the purpose and serve the world greatly. Through my unique New Era Superhero training, I pull them out of a really dark place because many of them come to me feeling lost, depressed, and like nothing makes sense. And I show them the path to aligning with their true core, bending reality in alignment with their soul path, and really making a difference in their revenue and in the world.
Okay, I do have to ask, what is reality?
Reality is your perception.
What is reality?
Reality is your perception of the part of the universe that you are immersed in.
Okay, so that goes along with some of what I've been saying all along, is that there's no such thing as the truth. And people say, what? Well, think about it. Well, there are facts that can be empirically, scientifically, and otherwise proven. However, truth is in the eyes of the beholder. You can have an automobile accident happen in an intersection. You can have 3 witnesses, each of whom were standing on 3 different corners of the intersection. All 3 of those witnesses can give statements while under polygraph testing and all three can pass a polygraph with flying colors, even if they tell mutually contradictory versions of the event. Why is that? Let's see if you know the answer.
Because of how they perceive reality. Their brain, their mind filters out the events that they're exposed to in a certain way. There is a famous experiment, which you probably know about, with the gorilla on the soccer field.
Yep, I do know about this one.
Yeah, there we go. So all those different groups of people were exposed to the exact same event. Some of them could not see what was going on. This is because of the certain filters we have in our mind, and we perceive reality not as it is, but as we are. And the trick is to upgrade your mental software so that you perceive more and you can do more.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. So I would also add that, see, polygraph tests, known as lie detectors, they don't fact check. They don't do research to see what was said. They don't go back and look at video clips or video footage or transcripts. They test for signs that the testee is actively seeking to create a narrative that is out of alignment with what that person knows through their truth to be factual.
Yeah.
So when they're consciously spinning a tale, it sets off those signals. However, if whatever they're saying is indeed in alignment with their own truth, it will show as a true response, which is why there's no such thing as the truth. There is truth. It's just they like to call it alternative facts when it doesn't align with their own preconceived notions or their own narrative. So let's get to question number 2. And this is just where briefly, in your own words, tell us what it is you do. Like, what exactly is the product or the service?
I run one-on-one training with those who really qualify for it. That is invitation only. But I also have masterminds, and I have a private group where everyone is welcome to join as a starting point.
Yeah. In your experience, what are a few of the frequently asked questions, the common questions that people have when they're asking you about what you do?
Well, they ask me how they know that they can't get to their purpose. In other words, some people just don't believe that living their purpose is even possible. So I show them that it's possible. Many of them ask me how they get out of the dark place. You know, you can call it depression, you can call it the dark night of the soul, where nothing makes sense, everything feels empty and pointless. So they ask me how to do that. I tell them. And then they ask me how they pay.
Okay. What are a few questions you wish they would ask?
I wish they would ask, what book should they start reading from my library of books to begin their journey in the most powerful way? And my answer to that is The Lightwitch Chronicles. This is the book that I would sincerely recommend to anyone who wants to find what their life purpose is about, because there is a lot more to it that meets the eye.
Hold that book up proudly. Come on, raise it up. There we go. Go ahead.
It's just the filter thing.
Yep.
There we go.
Good. Looks good.
Now it works. Yeah. So I sincerely recommend this book because it's like nothing else you've ever experienced. Even cats like it. You can see on my Instagram. And so that's question number 1. And question number 2, I wish they ask, is how they can live a truly meaningful life. Like, what's the best recipe for the most fulfilled life?
Right.
And my answer to that would be self-mastery and service. And this is, by the way, the motto of the New Era superhero of my company and the movement behind it. Self-mastery and service is what really makes you stand in your power as a human being and makes a difference in your life and in the world from the best possible place. And so if you feel anxious, if you feel that you are plagued by the imposter syndrome, uncertainty, doubts, unworthiness, if you step into your power, all those things will simply disappear. So you wouldn't have to fight against them or try to eliminate them. They simply would not be there because your level of consciousness would be in a place where such things simply don't happen.
Great, great. So here's the part where we sort of shift gears a little bit, and we ask some things to help us get to know you as a person. So first question is, what would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, we don't have enough time.
Pick one. Pick one.
But okay, so I will pick two, but really quick. So
Okay.
the first one is on my travel to Japan, I actually met a samurai ghost, two of them, in fact. And because I was with a student of mine, I have a witness that this happened because we were standing on the bridge in a place called Takayama. And at one point, my student looked at me and said, "Hey, did you just see what I saw?" And I'm like, "Yep, two samurai ghosts, fully clothed in kimonos and with samurai swords." So that's a surprising thing, number one, that not many people know. And another thing is about me running my classes, because before the dark times, I used to run what was called meditation and matcha. Matcha
Yep.
is the Japanese green tea with super health benefits. So I used to run meditation and matcha classes in London. And there was a lady there who was in her late 70s or 80s, I think.
Yeah.
And she had mobility problems. So because our classes were on the B1 level, so in the basement, and old London homes don't really have step-free access. And that lady with the mobility problems had to go down, and she had that walking stick supporting her. And you can tell that it was a lot of effort for her to go downstairs, but because she was so determined, we had a great admiration for her. And everyone else was sitting on a cushion, but that lady had a chair because she would have difficulties standing off from the floor.
Yeah.
And so we had this meditation. And after the meditation, we had a great chat with everyone. People were chatting, thanking me, each other. And before anyone had noticed, that lady actually got up from her chair, threw away her walking stick, and sat on the cushion with everyone else. And nobody kind of paid attention to that because everyone was so busy chatting. But next thing, she actually, when it was time to leave, she actually started just walking upstairs without thinking twice. And people were shocked. And someone actually said, "Alice," her name was Alice, "Alice, you've forgotten your walking stick." And she laughed and it's like, "Oh, wow, yeah, it never happened to me before." And she could move and walk after that meditation experience. So this is something that not many people know about.
Okay, great, great. What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
The best thing, and I actually know they say it, is that I've changed their lives.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I just want to let that sit for a moment. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done, one thing that's happened, one thing you've experienced, what would it be? And briefly, why?
Well, I would definitely start living my purpose a lot sooner. So instead of wasting, well, not wasting, but taking detours for the last at least 15 years, I would have started doing what I'm doing right now, changing the world the way I was meant to, helping people, transforming their lives. And this is why I would do it. It would be, we would live in a very different world right now, I believe, if I had done it back then.
Great. If you could meet anybody, any famous person, alive or dead, who would it be? And what question would you have for them if you had the opportunity?
I would like to meet Elon Musk in the 1990s. So the version of him from the 1990s. And I would ask, what would it take for you to team up changing the world?
That's curious. So you would go back to like early PayPal era Elon Musk. So before Tesla, before Boring, before the spaceships, before the attempt to acquire Twitter, which who knows how that's going to go at this point. I mean, that's a fluid changing thing, but just the idea that he's been in all these different areas where he's had, and even if you look at his efforts so far to acquire Twitter, how much change he's brought just by putting the offer out there. So for somebody in his place in life to raise to that level of influence, that just one tweet that he makes can shift the global financial picture. It's pretty curious that, and this is the first time we've ever had somebody say they would like to meet him back during the days before all of this happened and ask him how he would change the world.
And
now,
ask him and ask him what it would take for him to team up with me to change the world.
To team up with you to change the world. That would be something. I would be very curious about that. I'm going to get to work on a transporter and a time machine as soon as we're done here because I'm curious.
Absolutely.
All right. So what motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
My sense of duty.
Okay.
I'm here on a mission, and that mission is bigger than me. So whenever I fall down, I just get back up again.
Absolutely. Now, you have an invitation for our listeners, which I'm going to share on your behalf in just a moment. But I just want to ask, in general, since we're about a minute from being done here, what would you urge our listeners and viewers to do? What's one step that you would urge them to take right now that could make some sort of difference for their lives, their business, or their trajectory?
Start understanding yourself on a deeper level. And the easiest thing to do to get there is to set up an alarm on your phone 5 times a day or 3 times a day. And every time the alarm goes off, ask yourself, how are you feeling in that moment? What kind of thoughts are floating through your mind? What you're doing and why? And if you're around people, ask yourself how you feel towards those people and why. And this simple habit is going to take you out of that sleep-like existence and towards your purpose and greatest fulfillment.
Yeah, I'd also like to remind our listeners and viewers that pretty much any smartphone out there, and you can do this with your tablet or your iPad. I think you can do it if you have a Kindle device. And since most desktops and laptops are actually mobile devices that are retrofitted to function like desktops, just like with website design, mobile is now the basis, and it's desktop compatible rather than the other way around. No matter where you look at, there's some way that you can automatically just pick 5 different alarms, set them all, and even give them all different ringtones so that it's not like the church bell clanging the same one every time, because eventually if it's that same bell ring, you're just not going to hear it. So wanted to make sure our listeners had that. And also for our listeners, here is your invitation for those who are driving, walking, jogging. I'll say it out loud for you. It's a website, newerasuperhero.com. That's newerasuperhero.com. So if you're curious to find out if you've got what it takes to become a real-life superhero, if you're looking for that one unique strategy that helps spiritually awakening entrepreneurs discover their purpose, eliminate self-doubt, and create their greatest reality and impact without becoming a Buddhist monk, starting a tiresome routine, or sacrificing your time, this is where you go. It's, once again, newerasuperhero.com. And with that, J.H. Tepley, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.